Alright, so now we're going to do data and validation. When we're talking about validation of data, what we're saying is simply, how do I verify that the data you're putting is in accordance to the format that we are looking for? So in order for us to be able to do this, Excel provides us with that tool, which is called data validation. Now this data validation comes in gives us some options. You've got the whole number, text length, date, drop down list. Okay, so you have those options. So now let me show you how you can be able to enforce data validation. So in a case that you want that the data that you're entering should be in whole numbers, what you do is you go to your tab. Under your tab, under data, you go to validation. Okay, so when you want to validate something, you have to first make a selection to what cells do you want to enforce that validation. So in this case, I would want to enforce that validation probably to these cells which are highlighted. When I go to validation, when I click on validation, I have a choice here to select what type of validation I want to do. I click and I say I want to add only whole numbers. So the numbers which I'm adding there are only whole numbers. Between which numbers, I can select the numbers, or I can go to not between, equal to, not equal to. You can select whichever you want. In this case, we use between. So between 10 and 30. Okay. After you do that, you enforce it by saying OK. So if I come to my data now and I want to enter 3, I press enter. It's refusing because it's not a whole number, so it's asking me to try it again. So if I say 2, I enter, it's refusing. Then if I ask for 1, it's refusing because all these are below 10. So now we can now try out to say, okay, let's put 11. 11 goes through. If we say 12, it goes through. 13 goes through. But if we put 31, you have a problem. Okay, so that's how you enforce data validation. Okay, now let's just look at text length. Okay, text length. Here I can enter any text which I want. I can probably say validation. Okay, I've entered validation there. I press enter, it has accepted. I can enter 4. Okay, there it goes. Okay, now I want to enforce some validation towards this. What I want to do is I want all the words not to be more than 4 letters. So in order, or not less than 4 letters, whichever you prefer. So I'll highlight where I want to do my validation. I go to my validation button there. Then I state I want to do text length. Then when I come to text length, I now select the length of my data. If I say, let's try to use equal to. So we say our text length should be equal to 4. Okay, then we can enforce it. So if I come here, I enter they, I have a problem because the text length is 3 and the one which I put there is 4. So I need words which have got 4 letters. So if I say move, I have no problem. If I say validation, I have a problem because it's more than 4. Okay, so now that's how you do data validation using text length. Okay, now what if you come to date? On the date part, it's the same thing. Alright, you go to data validation, you come and select not time, not time, not time, your date there. Then you have to state your date is between which date and which date. So when you come here, you input, okay, it's between. So we're going to input, our date is going to be between 2/2/2019. 2019. Okay, then it will also between 2/2/2020. Okay, we say okay. So when we come here and we enter our dates, for instance, we're entering 2/2/2017. We have a problem. So it's because it's not between our date range. What if we say 2/2/2019? With that date, there is no problem. It's able to go through. So that's how you do your data validation on the date part. Now look at how you're going to handle, for instance, data validation using a drop-down list. Okay. So in this one, there are two ways that you can be able to do a data validation using a drop-down list. Okay. So now this is what you do. You go to your validation, then you select. First of all, I've only selected one cell there, so which means it's going to happen to only one cell. Okay. So I go and select, which is list. When I click on list, I'll come to source. Under source, I'll list down my content. So for when I'm listing down, probably it's a list of fruits or list of names. So I can have probably names, Amos. You separate them by a comma, Duncan, comma, then David, just like that. When you're done, you can put as many as you want. When you're done, you just say okay. When you've enforced it, you will see that there will be a square which will have like a pointer to show you that it has been enforced. So if I click on it, I'll have a suggestion of the names that I have listed down. Then I can go ahead and select probably Amos there. It goes. If I want to change it, I can still come back, change it. Okay. Here there is nothing because I have not enforced the same rule to that. Okay. All right. Now there's another way you can be able to do that. There are cases whereby you have the names already listed somewhere. So for instance, I'm going just to list them here. I'll just type the names. For instance, let's say countries, we say Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Kenya. Okay, so that is a list of our companies, that is our countries that's supposed to come in our drop down. So to do that, you click on the drop down. You click or you select where you want the drop down to be. After you've done that, you go to data validation. Then we're dealing with a list. Then under here, instead of you typing them there, what you do is that you go to this colorful square, you click on it. When you click on it, it will ask you to make a selection. So where you make a selection, for instance, I've made a selection like that. It has picked the cells that I have selected. When I'm done, I just click on it and it has picked the cells they are there, and I just say okay. Now it has been these names have been picked into the drop down. If I come here, I can select the next one. I can be able to select just like that. So it makes your work easier. One, that you reduce on the amount of time that you get to work, Secondly, it helps you get data which is correct, because in data analysis you would want your data to be entered correctly. The challenge that you can have when you don't have a good validation is that when somebody puts Kenya and they forget like an E on the Kenya and they enter it like that, what will happen when you're doing your data analysis? This one will not be read as Kenya. It will be read as that what you've just put, which is that, of which these are the same but they're different because they are not in the same spelling. So data validation helps you to deal with that. All right. Now we have seen that we can be able to input this data, but there's something that I needed to show you. Like for instance, when we're dealing with whole numbers, when we put a wrong number and we say, okay, you are receiving an error. So how do you handle such an error? Or for instance, not necessarily handling it, but if you see the error which is there is a general description of the problem. Okay, but this error can be customized on how it should come out. Okay, so what you do is you highlight, cancel, you highlight the same place where you have entered the validation loop, then you come to data validation, then under this same data validation you go to error alert. Okay, the alert that you will be receiving, you would have to give it a title. So for instance, this one is we can say wrong number. That's our title. The error message should be please enter digits that are between 10 and 30. Okay, when you're done you just say okay. So if I come back here, I enter 1, then I press enter, it gives me this error box or pop-up which says wrong number, please enter digits that are between 10 and 30. So it makes it easier for people to easily understand what wrong are they doing. So you can be more descriptive in your error message if you wish to. And this you can be done for all the data validations that you have. Alright, so we cancel that. Then apart from that, you would probably want to guide the people before they do anything, before they make their mistakes. They should be able to be guided. Okay, so for instance, they might not know that you're supposed to enter whole numbers which are between 10 and 30. So what you do is that you can also add another rule. Okay, to this you can be able to come to data validation. You come to data validation, then what you do now is that you go to input message. What is the title? Instructions. Then the message should be please note that you need to enter numbers between 10 and 30. Then you go ahead and say okay. Now you see that it's popping up. So immediately I go to a cell which I've validated, saying instructions. Please note that you need to enter numbers between 10 and 30. So before they even make an error, they are guided. Alright, so try out this and see you in the next video as I show you some more exciting things. Shalom.